Well, good evening. How are you all today? This evening, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I hope the sound of the cicadas don't drive you nuts, but if it drives somebody nuts, boy, the end of the world's going to be a real problem, right? So we'll just deal with it. I want to talk tonight about how much training and practice do you really need. Grab yourself something to sip. I am drinking tonight. It has been a great day. Let me say that. I had went with Kelly and one of the boys had a pound of burnt ends for lunch. Best burnt ends I've ever tasted in my life. It's this little place around up about 20 miles from here, and we went up there and ate. And Kelly's in there making some carnivore cheesecake. Do you believe that? Carnivore cheesecake, yeah. And I can't wait for that because she's a great cook. Daughters at camp, church camp, oldest son's at work, youngest son is doing something or other. It's just a wonderful life watching the dog run around out there. He's back behind me now. He just came back here. And I'm drinking a Yingling Stars and Stripes. What could be better than that? So let me take a slug of it and then we'll talk about this. One more. Get yourself some. How much training and practice do you need? Now, you probably think that I'm talking about guns, and I'm going to start there. I had somebody come on the other day. Every time I make one about guns, I have some weird comments come up. I have people who think they know all about guns, right? And they'll say, I don't have a gun, I have a firearm. And the other one is the old Marine thing. This is my rifle, this is my gun. One is for fighting and one's for fun. It's just like people who get all twisted up when you call a revolver a pistol. That's not a pistol! Well, it is a pistol. If you knew what you were talking about, you'd know. Pistol comes from pistola, the old Spanish, or I forget one, back in the 1700s, which means a firearm meant to be fired with one hand. Okay? And the old pistoleros weren't using Glocks, right? So I always get people come on thinking they know so much about things, only to show that they don't. And the other day when I put one up, I had a comment, and you always get these people who will say, you need to practice all the time. If you're going to carry a gun, you need to practice all the time. Okay? That's where I'm going to start. I'm going to go into something more important that most preppers need to concentrate on more than they do, but we're going to start with guns. So you've heard you got to practice all the time, and that pistolship, marksmanship, gunfighting, all this, as if, most of these people have never been in a gunfight, as if they know, right? And they say, all of this is a perishable skill. Well, as may not surprise those of you who have been with me for a long time, I disagree. Disagree with that. There's so much out there being spread through the preparedness world that just ain't so, because most of the people out there in preparedness are involved in things that they've never actually done in life. They believe what they've been told because that's all they have to base their opinions on, and I understand that. But that's why I try to come on here and give you a little bit, benefit of a little bit more experience. And I got one, the one I did the other day, why you should carry a gun. And somebody said, you should, be well trained, get as much training as you can, and practice at least, and practice several times a week, and then go to all these, whatever these shooting competitions are, and they left all these letters, and I don't remember what they all are, because I don't do that stuff. Go to this and this and this and this, and I'm thinking, the last line told me everything what I was suspecting. They were an instructor, a firearms instructor. Take another sip. Let me tell you about my experience and what I suggest to people, because I occasionally teach people to shoot. I don't do it professionally anymore. When I went through the police academy 50 years ago, we had excellent training. When I went into some special units, I got a little bit more training, some kind of special training. Excuse me. And, after that, to be honest, I went in and I qualified every year, did fine, and that's about all I've ever done. Now, I shoot now maybe a couple of times a year, and I'll tell you why. And yes, I do have experience in the real world on this, and I'm not going to get into that because I learned long ago I don't answer questions, because when I answer the question, it brings more questions. I finally get to the point to where I'm going to stop answering them, so I just don't talk about it. So I go about 2 or 3 times a year, and that's usually only when I go over to teach somebody else, to introduce them, okay, to pistol ship. Just went over, I took my oldest son over the other day to run through some stuff, and so I shot. Whenever I take somebody over, I usually shoot about 1 magazine through my carry gun. And the reason that I do that, I'll send a target out 20 feet, so, and I will shoot offhand, and I don't use my sights, and I use what's called point shooting, or some people call it intuitive shooting, and I don't remember what the Bill Jordan used to call it, or was it the other guy? I don't know. It doesn't matter. Don't use your sights, and that's how I tell people. That's how I teach people to shoot. I'll get more into that probably on the Patreon channel. I've done another one on point shooting and intuitive shooting. I think I keep those on the Patreon channel because I just get too many stupid comments when I put them on YouTube. So I will be first. I'll run a silhouette target out about 20 feet, and then I'll take my carry gun and I'll run a magazine through it. And if everyone goes in the head, I know, okay, I'm still good. I can hit what I want to hit. Now, if I had to use my gun, again, I would not shoot for the head. I'd shoot center mass, okay? But shooting for the head shows me I'm putting it where I need to, okay? Because it's smaller. And then that's it. What I've seen, I've checked out. Can I still put them where I need to? And if the answer is yes, I don't see any need to go practice more, okay? You know who wants you to practice more? Firearms instructors. People who run gun channels, people who run gun ranges, people who sell ammo, right? They love you to practice more. How much does ammo cost? So once you have gotten up to a point of to where you need to, you are adept. You can put it where you need to. There you go. The one thing that gets in the way of most people when they get into a gun encounter is what's going on up here. Okay? And so many people who can just dot the I's and cross the T's on a range, I know don't have up here. If somebody actually pointed a gun at them from 15 feet away and started shooting at them, whoa, look, they would not place their shots where they want to. Now, so I'd say if you can put your shots where in the general vicinity that you need to, center mass, if you can put 3 or 4 in there in a decent amount of time, 4, 5, or 6, whatever, you're good. In my opinion, because this has been my experience, it's not something that I read in a magazine. It's not something that I heard from the fat kid behind the gun counter. If you can do that, you're good. You don't need to completely start practicing. And like I was starting to say, it's like kind of riding a bicycle. It's a skill. You never forget how, right? I got on a bicycle for the first time last year in, 30, 40 years. And I wasn't as smooth as I used to be, but it came back quick, and I could still go where I needed to go. After a little bit, about half an hour, okay, you got it back. It's kind of the same thing with shooting for most people. Now, here's a caveat that I will put in. Some people are more natural at it than others, okay? Some people have better hand-eye coordination. Some people have a better sense of things. I know not everybody's the same. So if you need more practice, practice more. If you don't, there's no reason to keep on shooting unless you enjoy shooting. If you just enjoy shooting, by all means, go shoot as much as you can afford. After a while, you're not going to get that much better. Let me put it this way. if you're training for bullseye shooting, yeah, I'm sure you have to do that. But if you're training for self-defense, once you get to a certain point, you're good. Now, here's where most preppers are falling down and where they need to spend more money and more time. And that is life skills, money skills, relationship skills. Okay? I know so many preppers who have all the gear and all the guns and all this, and train and the rest of their life is a mess. Just a mess. How many people do you see? Well, I don't see that many on our channel because people have pretty much gotten to know me by now, and I don't like whiners. And I don't like people who make excuses. And so when I talk over and over again. You need to make more money, because I hear people say, and I see it on other channels in the comments all the time, I can't afford it. I don't know how to, there's no way I can do that. And I say, simple, make more money. Well, it's not that easy. Well, I never said it was easy. I said, do it. I'm going to make one about, probably tomorrow sometime, about when it gets hard. And what I used to tell people when I used to train them. And they go, oh, it's so hard. Well, whatever it takes to do it, you need to do it. I see too many preppers out there who can't afford to actually prep. I see too many preppers out there whose families were falling apart. Because you know why? Because they didn't invest their time and energy in their family that they did in their training or their practice. They don't have the money because they haven't learned about finance. They haven't learned about economics. I'm just astounded. I can hardly bear to watch some other channels now because they put up so much wrong information about the economy, the world economy, the national economy, your personal economy, whatever. It's just, it amazes me. It's no wonder. There you go. It's no wonder people are having a hard time, because they haven't put the time and the effort into learning about these things. So here's what I would suggest. If you think that it's all about shooting and that you think you need to practice a lot and get all the training you can for something you're probably never going to need to do, you're putting your priorities in the wrong place. You see, you're going to need to eat every day. You're going to need your family every day. You need to nourish your relationships, your family, your friends. You need to do that every day. That's an investment, just like tending your garden. You need to pay attention to it. You need to learn, whether it's reading books, whether it's watching videos, whether it's taking a class at the community college. You need to learn how finances work. You need to learn how the economy works. And you need to take charge of your financial situation. Because until you do, you won't have a good handle on preparedness. You won't really understand what's going on in the world. You won't have the support system you need. I hammer this all the time. Faith, family, and friends. Those are the things that are going to be with you. I know some people say, well, I don't have any friends, or I don't like people, or what. Well, you are totally negating one of the most important aspects, not just of preparedness, but of life and of happiness in life. And there's too many preparedness people out there, too many preppers who seem to think that being unhappy is just the way that life should be. You know, there's a lot of times that I hesitate to tell you, I got gnats flying around here or something. I guess I better respray this deck. I hesitate to talk about good things many times on here because I get so many people coming on and say, well, you're just so lucky. Well, you're just so this, or it must be nice to be you. I'm not lucky. I'm not lucky, and I'm going to say something that's going to piss people off. It shouldn't. It won't piss off the right people who understand what I'm saying. But my life, just like your life, is a culmination of all the decisions I've made. You can think that life is happening to you. Well, either you do life or life will do you. If you're not paying attention to life, it'll do you. And you'll end up feeling like the victim for the rest of your life and whining and moaning about it. I had a friend of mine call me today. I worked with him for 13 years. Great guy I consider a brother. And he called me up. He said, you know what? All those years you talked to me, and he worked his butt off. Worked his butt off for years. And, I mean, worked hard. Supported his family. He had problems. He had some real problems in his life. Really bad things happened to him. Really bad things happened to him. I never heard him whine. Never heard him complain. He just kept on working. And I'd talk to him, and he finally said, he called me just the other day, and he called me again tonight, but that's what reminded me. He said, you know all those times you told me to take charge of my own life? He said, I just bought a laundromat. That's a man taking care of himself and his family. That's a man taking charge of his own life. That's a man who learned from me and others how to do things. But he's doing it because he's doing it. I'm not doing it for him. He's doing it. He learned from the people he could learn from. He learned from other places he could learn from. And he's doing it. He's taking charge of his life. And I would say that now our channel is different than many other channels. So I don't hear the same negativity in our comments, but I know we have new people coming by all the time or just checking in. And so those are the ones that I'm trying to explain this to. And our normal people, our regular people, chime in, you know. Tell the new people or the people coming by your experiences about how you took charge of your life and you made your life better under the direction of the good Lord. It all starts with him. But for everybody who's just kind of stopping by here, you need to spend more time concentrating on the training, the practice, and the development of the important things in your life more than those tactical things that sound so fun. Going to the range, doing this, doing that, right? Getting all, tacked out. Thinking that the war's going to come. Thinking that the whole financial system is going to collapse. Thinking that the world's going to World War III. I just saw another one before I came out here, some channel saying World War III has started again for the 9 millionth time, right? Well, you know what you're going to need if the whole thing does fall apart? More than range practice, you're going to need your family. You're going to need your friends. You're going to need your faith. Not necessarily in that order. Faith, family, friends. Faith meaning God. You put God at the middle. I'm not going to make this a sermon, but you put the God at the middle of your family is going to be strong and it's going to stay strong. You put God at the center of your decisions are going to be right. Your friends are going to be the right ones. Not the ones who share your misery with you, but the ones who can lift you up, hold you up, be there for you when needed. I was talking to the buddy of mine who called earlier, and we were talking about friends. And I was telling him about a channel I was watching, who is going on and on and on and on and on about you can't trust anybody and your best friend will sleep with your wife. And I go, oh my gosh, what kind of life must these people have? I have a whole lot of friends. And there will be those who tell you, if you think you have a lot of friends, you're a fool. No, it depends. It depends how, your standards. And I have really high standards. But I have a whole lot of friends I trust with my life, my wife, my money, my kids, my reputation, everything. It's a matter of building it. It's a matter of just like a garden. Planting it, weeding it, nourishing it, paying attention to it. So I would suggest as a general rule when it comes to this preparedness stuff, stop being so enamored with shooting is a perishable skill. It ain't that perishable if you have the basics. Now take all that time and money that you spend on practicing. Oh, I know I'm going to get some horrible comments on here from people who, read the magazine. I don't care. They're wrong. Take all that time and effort, invest it in the right things. Invest it in knowledge. Invest it in your family and friends. Invest it in learning how to make more money, how to be financially responsible, how to build your wealth, which will improve your life and it will improve the life of your kids. Okay? All right. This is good. I'm going to go in and see if Kelly has the carnivore cheesecake ready. I know she said carnivore cheesecake. I thought, how could you be carnivore to me is, meat and eggs, right? No, it's heavy cream and whipped up, and I can't explain it. But she gave me a taste and it's good. So I'm going to get in there. You all have a good night. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.